There are few objects in the wizarding world as hauntingly beautiful and deeply mysterious as the Mirror of Erised. Tall, ornate, and edged with ancient runes, this enchanted mirror reflects far more than just one's physical form. It reveals the innermost desires of the heart, showing each individual the thing they long for most. But like all great magic, it comes with a warning. It does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live. The mirror's origins remain shrouded in mystery, and yet its impact on those who gaze into it has left an undeniable mark on wizarding history, most notably on a young boy named Harry Potter. When Harry first encountered the Mirror of Erised in his first year at Hogwarts, he had no idea of the powerful enchantments woven into its glass. Hidden away in a forgotten classroom, it was there that he saw his parents for the first time, smiling, alive, and standing beside him as if death had never separated them. To Harry, an orphan raised in the cold and loveless home of the Dursleys, this vision was more than a mere illusion. It was a moment of longing made tangible, but for all its wonder, the mirror could not change reality. It could only reflect it back with heartbreaking clarity. Dumbledore, ever wise, cautioned Harry about the mirror's dangers. Many had wasted away before it, lost in the fantasies it conjured, unable to look away from the images that could never truly be. Yet, despite its peril, the mirror also held a purpose far beyond temptation. That year, it became the final defense for the Philosopher's Stone, enchanted so that only one who sought the stone but not its power could retrieve it. This intricate magic revealed the brilliance of its creator, none other than Albus Dumbledore himself. But was Dumbledore its true maker, or merely a clever custodian? That is where the mystery deepens. The ancient runes etched along the mirror's frame provide a cryptic clue. When reversed, the inscription reads, "I show not your face, but your heart's desire." The spellwork behind such an object would require immense magical knowledge, far beyond the capabilities of an ordinary enchantment. Some theories suggest that the mirror predates even Hogwarts itself, crafted by an unknown wizard who sought to explore the depths of human longing. Others believe it was forged in the age of the Four Founders, possibly as a teaching tool meant to caution students against the dangers of unchecked ambition. The truth, as with many magical artifacts, remains hidden in time. But the mirror's significance is not just in what it reveals, it is in what it teaches. For Harry, the Mirror of Erised was a lesson in loss, in acceptance, and in the dangers of allowing the past to overshadow the present. As Dumbledore removed the mirror from its forgotten room, he left Harry with a simple yet profound truth. The happiest man on earth would look into the mirror and see only himself, exactly as he is. Yet one question remains. Where did the mirror go after that fateful year? And could its magic still be influencing the wizarding world today? For centuries, magical scholars and historians have debated the true origins of the Mirror of Erised. Some believe it was the work of a master enchanter, a relic from the days when wizards sought to create objects of unparalleled magical influence. Others suggest it was a tragic mistake, an experiment gone awry, meant to grant its user insight but instead trapping them in endless yearning. If the latter is true, then its creator must have realized too late that desire, when reflected back with perfect clarity, could be more dangerous than any curse. There are whispers that the mirror might have ties to an ancient magical tradition, one that predates even Hogwarts. Some theories link it to the lost craft of soul magic, a branch of enchantment feared for its ability to expose and manipulate the human spirit. If the mirror was indeed created with such knowledge, it could explain its eerie pull on those who stand before it. Unlike a pensieve, which allows one to relive memories objectively, the Mirror of Erised does not deal in facts, only in longings. And longings, as any skilled witch or wizard knows, can be powerful enough to undo even the strongest minds. One particularly fascinating theory suggests that the mirror was not built as a trap, but as a test. What if its original purpose was to measure the strength of a wizard's heart? Those who could gaze into it without succumbing to obsession would prove themselves worthy of great wisdom, while those who lost themselves in its images would reveal their own weaknesses. Could it have been used by ancient magical societies to determine leadership, or even by Hogwarts founders themselves to assess their students? If this were true, it would make the mirror less of a cautionary object and more of a magical trial, a challenge few could pass. Despite the danger it presents, the mirror does not lie. It does not distort or deceive. It simply reflects what is already within. This makes it a uniquely powerful magical artifact, one that reveals the deepest truth about those who stand before it. In that sense, the mirror of Erised is not merely enchanted glass, it is a window into the human soul. It has no will of its own, no hidden agenda, and yet its very existence has led countless witches and wizards to madness, unable to look away from what they most desire but can never truly have. So where is the mirror now? After Dumbledore used it to hide the Philosopher's Stone, he removed it from its forgotten classroom, saying only that it would be placed somewhere it could never be found again. Some speculate that it was taken to the Department of Mysteries, locked away with other magical artifacts too dangerous to be left unchecked. Others believe it remains somewhere within Hogwarts, hidden in a place only a true seeker of knowledge could uncover. But if the mirror still exists, and if its magic remains as potent as ever, one thing is certain: it will always be waiting for the next wizard, foolish or wise, enough to stand before it. The mirror of Erised may have been removed from its original hiding place, but its lesson remained etched in the minds of those who had stood before it. For Harry Potter, the mirror was more than just an object of curiosity. It was his first true encounter with the pain of longing and the power of acceptance. Even years after that fateful night in his first year, he never forgot the image of his parents standing beside him, nor the bittersweet ache it left behind. Yet, unlike many who had fallen into the mirror's thrall, Harry learned to look away. That ability, that choice, would prove to be one of the defining traits of his journey. Throughout wizarding history, there have been whispers of others who were not so fortunate. One such tale speaks of a reclusive wizard who spent decades before the mirror, convinced that if he only studied it long enough, he could somehow step into its reflection and claim the happiness it showed him. But no spell, no incantation, no force of will could make the dream real. In the end, he withered away, lost to a world that only ever existed in his mind. It was a cautionary tale, but one that many wizards failed to heed. After all, when faced with one's deepest desire, who among us could say with certainty that we would be strong enough to turn away? But what of Dumbledore himself? The wise and enigmatic headmaster who warned Harry of the mirror's dangers had once been a young man full of desires of his own. In his later years, he claimed to see only socks when he looked into the mirror, a light-hearted deflection that concealed a far deeper truth. If one were to believe the insights gained from his past, it is likely that Dumbledore saw something far more haunting: the life he had once dreamed of, unmarked by tragedy and loss. Perhaps he saw his sister Ariana alive and well, his brother Aberforth standing beside him without resentment, and the young man he once admired, Gellert Grindelwald, never having turned to darkness. If this was the case, then Dumbledore's ability to look away from the mirror was not just wisdom. It was a burden he carried, a lesson learned through pain. And what of Lord Voldemort? The Dark Lord, for all his mastery of magic, never sought out the mirror of Erised, nor did he seem to recognize its power when it was placed as one of the protections for the Philosopher's Stone. Was it because he feared what it might show him? Voldemort, who claimed to have eradicated all weakness within himself, had once been a boy too, one who had never known his mother, who had never felt the love of a family. Had he stood before the mirror, what might he have seen? A version of himself where love was never denied to him, where he had never needed to become the monster he chose to be? Or would he have seen nothing at all, his soul so fractured that he no longer possessed a true longing beyond power and conquest? The mirror of Erised does not discriminate. It reveals only what is already within. It is both a gift and a curse, a reflection of hope and heartbreak. Those who seek it out do so in pursuit of comfort, yet more often than not, they leave with a heavier heart than before. And so, the mirror remains, hidden, waiting, an eternal testament to the greatest truth of magic. That which we most desire is often the very thing we can never truly have. Though the mirror of Erised remains hidden, its magic still lingers in the minds of those who have encountered it. But the true power of the mirror is not in its ability to show dreams. It is in the questions it forces us to ask ourselves. Why do we long for what we cannot have? Why do our deepest desires so often remain just out of reach? And, most importantly, can we ever truly be content with the life we have, rather than the life we wish for? These are the questions that define not only the mirror's magic, but the very nature of the human heart. There are those who have speculated that the mirror's enchantment is not merely passive. Could it in some way influence those who stand before it? The great enchanter Nicholas Flamel, who studied alchemical transformations for centuries, once theorized that objects imbued with deep magic can develop a form of awareness. If the mirror of Erised does not simply reflect but instead responds to the emotions of the one who gazes into it, then its power may be even greater than previously believed. Did it show Harry only his parents because that was all he wished to see? Or might it have chosen to reveal a future that could have been, had fate taken a different turn? If so, is it possible that the mirror holds not just desire, but echoes of alternate realities, glimpses of what might have been? This theory opens up unsettling possibilities. If the mirror contains traces of the countless souls who have stood before it, longing for something just beyond their grasp, could it act as a reservoir of unfulfilled dreams? Perhaps this explains why wizards have been known to lose themselves within its glass, unable to tear their eyes away. If every sorrow, every lost hope, every desperate wish were to linger within its reflection, then the mirror of Erised may be more than a simple magical object. It may be a doorway into the very essence of longing itself. A trap, not because of what it reveals, but because of what it absorbs. And yet, for all its mysteries, the mirror remains an object of wonder. It is not inherently evil, nor is it cursed. It simply is. It does not twist the mind like a Horcrux or demand loyalty like the Elder Wand. Instead, it serves as a lesson, a challenge, one that few can overcome. The happiest man in the world, as Dumbledore once said, would see only his own reflection. But true happiness is not so easily attained, and that is why the mirror continues to hold such power. To stand before it and see oneself as they are, without regret, without longing, is perhaps the rarest magic of all. If the mirror still exists, it remains hidden, waiting for the next seeker to stumble upon its gilded frame. And when that moment comes, the only question that will matter is this: will they be able to look away? Or will they, like so many before them, become another whisper in the mirror's endless reflection of dreams? The story of the mirror of Erised is not simply one of magic. It is a story of humanity itself. It reflects not just longing, but the very essence of what it means to dream. Every witch and wizard who has stood before it has left a part of themselves behind in its glass, a fleeting glimpse of their truest self, stripped of pretense. And yet, the mirror offers nothing in return. No guidance, no comfort, no resolution. It does not grant wishes, nor does it rewrite the past. It merely stands as a silent observer, bearing witness to the deepest yearnings of those who dare to look. Harry Potter was one of the few who learned the lesson the mirror had to offer. He, more than most, had every reason to lose himself in its visions. But in the end, he chose to look beyond them, to step away from the dreams it presented and live in the world as it was. That choice defined his journey. It was not desire that shaped his destiny, but action. And that perhaps is the mirror's greatest secret, not what it shows, but what it demands. For only those strong enough to walk away from their heart's deepest longing can ever hope to truly change their fate. And so, the mirror of Erised remains a mystery, its whereabouts unknown, its magic undimmed by time. Perhaps it waits, hidden in the shadows of Hogwarts, tucked away in some forgotten corner where the curious may one day find it once more. Or perhaps it has been sealed away forever, its lessons deemed too dangerous to be learned again. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: as long as there are those who dream, who wish, who yearn for a world just beyond their grasp, the mirror's legend will endure. Because, in the end, the mirror of Erised does not hold magic in its glass. It holds us, our hopes, our regrets, our unfinished stories. And for those who stand before it, the only question that truly matters is this: will you be able to turn away